President Cyril Ramaphosa has extended the deployment of the South African Defence Force on the Cape Flats. The extension comes into effect today. The original deployment of the army was authorized in July as an immediate response to a rise in crime, especially gang-related crime in the province. The move is part of efforts to prevent and combat crime in the province. Now, joining us on the phone line from Cape Town is Fadiel Adamsi, president of a community-based group called Gatvol Capetonians. Fadiel, good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced this extension after the SANDF has been in the community for 2 months now. What do you make of this extension?
It's a total waste of money. It's a total waste of resources. And I can't see why the president is doing that. You know, as the president, has he communicated with the communities? Has he spoken to our CPS and our neighborhood watchers? Because the army is here and our children are still dying. It's a knee-jerk reaction, and it just shows that President Ramaphosa does not know. He doesn't have a clue as to what he's doing in government at this stage.
What would you have preferred to happen at this point in time? I mean, you mentioned the communication that the president has embarked on. Are you saying that when it comes to the community and social development interactions that government is failing on that aspect?
Government has failed us in every sphere. Look, if the president was serious about this, the answer is very simple. We do need an army on the Cape Flats. But we need an army of social workers, psychologists for those who are traumatized, skills developers for those who have no skills, job opportunities for those that are unemployed. This is the army we need. You know, this army that they sent in has cost us 20-odd million rand for 2 months. We could have put that money to better use.
So are you essentially saying that the army's presence to help reduce crime has not been felt?
2 hours in an area, ma'am, is not going to solve anything. The army comes, it sets up a roadblock, it goes. They drive through your area, they're gone. We can't expect the army to be everywhere. And this is the thing. This problem is much deeper than patrolling for a few hours. You know, you'll stabilize this area, it'll flare up in the next road. This is how it goes here. I don't think the president understands how deep this problem is, how infested our communities are. Or maybe he doesn't, maybe he just doesn't care, I don't know.
You mentioned roping in an army of psychologists, of social workers, as well as the SANDF. When it comes to strategizing and sitting down to fully allow the president to grasp what the problems are on the ground, what do you think needs to be done? If you were speaking to the president now, what would you say to him?
I would say to the president, Mr. President, first of all, you've got to stop affirmative action in its current form, because it's putting our kids out of work. That's the first thing I'd say to the president. Then I'd say you need to stop broad-based black economic empowerment in its present form, because it's killing off small business in my area. Then I'd say to the president, Mr. President, you need to speak to Debbie Scaffer, who is the NEC for education in the Western Cape, and tell her to stop closing schools on the Cape Flats, because the only way we're going to combat this thing is if we educate and tool our kids. Now, if education is the only manner in which we're ever going to combat gangsterism and drugs in these communities, why are we closing schools year on year? This is what the president needs to look at. Why are our kids so hell-bent on killing each other? Because they are full of frustration and full of anger, because the family network is broken down, because mothers unemployed, fathers on drugs or in prison. This is what we need to look at, man. If you look at the simple statistic that out of 100% of this country, the so-called colored people only contribute 8%. That's it. We're only 8%. But if you look in the prison system, 85% of all inmates are colored. We are not genetically inclined to be criminals. The system has failed us. Now, if you look at the simple demographic, we fill the prison system, and it's done this way by design. You close our schools, you deny us jobs, you deny us entry into varsity. You know, if you want to apply for something, anything that is state-funded, and you need to tick that awful block that is colored, you're just disqualified. This is what the president needs to look at, man. It's been what we've been saying for years, and nobody listens.
You know, you mention several aspects there as you're venting out. You speak about affirmative action. You speak about BEE. As you expand on it, just zooming into the jobs, what sort of jobs do you think that are needed when it comes to really curbing crime and just looking at the youth in the Cape Flats and the shift that needs to take place? What do you think in terms of jobs and intervention, and you know, I highlight affirmative action again. What needs to change there?
You know, the mindset needs to change from all players, all role players. You know, it's like if you look at the Department of Labour issue we had a fight with the Department of Labour and we actually won that fight. 46 posts in the Western Cape, not a single coloured person employed. Not one. Look at that. Then you have Alan Zille saying a few years ago there's a shortage of coloured skills. I can take Alan Zille around Mitchell's Plain where I live and show her probably a good few hundred college graduates sitting on street corners. Now, when Alan Zille says that there's no coloured skills in the Western Cape, yet the party that she represents is hell-bent on employing white matriculants, then there's a problem there. Now, when the president of this country can look at the Department of Labour and seeing them denying young coloured kids job opportunities within the Department of Labour, which is the custodian of the Employment Equity Act, then you can see that there's blatant discrimination against one population group here.
Do you feel that your voice will be heard? Do you think that you have enough of an impact to have these grievances articulated to the president as the SANDF is roped out again to continue safeguarding the area?
Ma'am, let me tell you something. They will not listen to my voice, but they will heed our actions. We've taken a stand with the backyarders issue. We shut down large sections of Cape Town. We will take a stand with the next issue as well. As they've threatened me with arrest, they've threatened me with a civil suit, they can threaten me with everything they want. We will take a stand again soon. We will shut down Cape Town again. Because when we talk, these people refuse to listen. You know, unfortunately, in the country that you and I live, this government only understands one language. It is the language of shutting down, of protesting. You know, the days where we could send an email to a director or a director general and get a response is long gone. They just ignore it. We handed in a memorandum to the city of Cape Town about a month and a half ago about the backyarders. They didn't even acknowledge it. This is what we have to deal with.
Fadiel, as you plan and want to chart a way forward to ensure that your voice is heard, you speak about shutting down the area. What sort of action are you planning here, and when are you thinking of making that move?
Look, at this present moment, our people are being evicted in Outbay. Now, Outbay is a subsistence fishing area, right? And all these people know is fishing. They know nothing else. They've lived from the sea since Van Riebeeck got off the boat. What has happened is government has taken away the fishing permits. So they've taken fishermen and turned them into poachers. Now, when the man who is unemployed with a family to feed goes to the sea to catch a fish to feed his kids, he gets shot. This happened this year. Dead. Now they're trying to evict these same people. Where these people must go, only government knows. This is going to be our next issue. I'm leaving here for Hout Bay today to go and liaise with our supporters in Hout Bay, and then the Cape Flats will decide which way it's going to go again. I cannot disclose what we're going to do or when we're going to do it right now, but at a later stage in the very near future, Cape Town will feel how unhappy we are. You see, I don't think government wants to understand how serious this case is. 3,000 deaths within 6 months. Just wrap your head around that. Less people die in recognized wars like Afghanistan and Iraq than on the Cape Flats. I understand the call for the army, but it is short-sighted. What we need is an in-depth sit-down with government, and it must not last longer than a few days so action can be taken.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Fadiel Adamsi, president of the community-based group called Gatvol Capetonians. You've heard what he's had to say as the president has announced that the deployment of the South African National Defence Force has been extended in the Cape Flats. This association is saying it's not enough, more needs to be done, and the impact has not been felt.